Yo, what's good, guys? So today we're going to be having an interview with Lyric. Now, Lyric's one of my boys since back in the day. Now, we go back since I first started in the online space, and he went down a slightly different path. He focused directly on sales, appointment setting, and appointment closing, and was able to leave his job in under a month. We're going to go into detail a little bit about his journey so you guys can see it too. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here with Lyric. Lyric, what were you doing before this?
So I was pretty much fresh out of high school, bro, and then I just jumped straight into the warehouse, just like any other typical moldy. Went to work with my old man, and fuck, yeah, I just done it for about 2 years, bro. Pick packing,
Yeah, go
fucking
for it.
machinery, bro. You name it, I done it, bro.
How old were you at that point?
So I was 17 when I dropped out, so I was grade 11 at that point, and then fucking it was like 18, and then it was like late 18 when I realized like, fuck, this is not something I do want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Okay. I guess like when you first got started, what was like the biggest thing that kind of made you want to make that pivot from obviously working in a warehouse?
Well, it was like, bro, like anything in life, when you first start out something, it's all good. Like the first 3 to 6 months was all right, and then it started taking everything away from me. Like it slowly, like it was like a bag on my back, slowly getting heavier and heavier, if you
Yeah.
were to put it like that. And what I mean by that is like taking time away from my family because I was working 12 days. I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So it was taking time away from my family, my missus, my hobbies, which was boxing, which was rugby league. And
Yeah.
then it just started adding up, physically draining me. And then ultimately, it pushed me to a point where I just felt like I was slipping into depression almost.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's when I like, fuck, I need to do something with my life.
Need to make a change. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you working the warehouse job for?
So it would have been because my first warehouse job was about a year, and then so that was a factory job, and then I jumped into pick packing for about 8 months, 9 months. So warehouse to warehouse, just fucking pick packing. I was
Yeah.
doing like Rio bar sheets, loading trucks and stuff like that, and just everything to do with warehouse.
Was that all right? Like, did you get paid all right? Is that like, do you get paid decently for that? And so is that why you did like more warehouse pickpacking than like a trade? Did you?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly, because all my boys in high school wanted to go down the trade route because, oh, I'll get a certification and I'll get qualified and shit. Then I'll be on big dollars. But then I looked at it and like, fuck, I don't need a qualification in a warehouse. And then, bro, at 17, 18, I thought I was on the biggest money. I was on like $1,200 a week, and then I was doing shift work, and I was maxing like $1,300 a week, and I thought I was fucking balling at that age. Until then I realized, bro, people, the old boys on site, fucking, they're 50, have 5 kids, are they on the same exact shit too, just
Yeah.
like later down in life. And that's what I didn't want, bro.
When you first got started in the first couple of months, what was like something you felt that was like a big challenge for you?
In terms of like the online space or
Yeah,
in
like when you first started looking into the online space, I think what was like one of the biggest challenges that you faced with looking into it as such? Like, was there anything that kind of did you have any hesitations, or like was there
mm,
anything that made you not start earlier?
100%, bro. And I feel like it was the unknown, the fear of failing as well. Like I was so scared to the point where I didn't give it a try. So I reached out to multiple people, when I first started feeling that way of I didn't want to work for the rest of my life. And
Yeah,
then it took me 4 months to realize nothing changed from the point because I let investing into myself because I wanted to just I invested into cheap courses and I was getting cheap results, and I was like, fuck, I just want fast money. But then I realized I was lacking the actual skills to be able to take it to the next level, to be able to get me where I want to go.
yeah. I guess that is something you do end up having to face. Like myself, I think the biggest thing for me was making that pivot, but also believing in myself. Even the
Mm.
noise, bro. You get so many people kind of putting expectations into your head, giving you their advice. Like obviously, most people just want what's best for you at heart, but sometimes people take it way more seriously. And I think you got
Yeah.
to look at it as in like if you're getting someone told, like one of your friends saying, "Hey, is this the right thing to go do?" If that person's not really where you want to see yourself or doesn't have the same vision as yourself, you really got to block out the noise. Because I think it's
Mm.
one thing that will take over your emotion and quite control you to the point that you won't make decisions based on
Mm.
yourself and based on your own like wanting.
Yeah.
You're going to go kind of take other people's opinions in. So I think that's one thing I face as well. I guess like with the first couple of months, was there anything that you like, was there any learning curves, like anything that you kind of had to focus on a bit more that you felt.
Yeah. For sure, bro. It was for me, it was you are who you hang around at the end of the day. Like you were saying before, was like not taking advice from someone that's not in a position where you want to be. For me, growing up as in a moldy household, in a poly household, bro, all I knew was mahi hard, they say, right? They mahi
Yeah.
hard, get the treats later. That's all they said. And the stereotypical work the warehouse, work the trades for the rest of your life. It
Yeah.
wasn't for me. And I was like, I almost let my parents like have a say on what I do in the online space. Like when I before I got into that, and it
Yeah.
almost stopped me, bro. But then I heard from someone that was in a position where I wanted to be tell me, well, he said on a post, you are who you hang around at the end of the day, and look at you like he was pretty much saying like love aside with your parents, ask yourself, are they in a position where you want to be? And I just said, no, no, they're not at all. And then that's why I was like, fuck, why would I take advice from, like, I love my mom and dad, but why would I take advice for them in the online space if they've never been successful with it, bro?
Yeah, of course. I think that's the one thing we always got to look at is like, what's the true goal that we're trying to get at? A lot
Mm.
of it is, to be able to help our parents out to get into a better position.
Yeah,
But if we do consistently take advice from our parents who's in the position we're trying to change,
exactly.
most likely just going to end up in the exact same position that they've got themselves into because it's just something that they've done for the
Yeah,
past 40, 50 years and they feel comfortable with doing.
100%. And
So,
no, like, shit to them because that's all they've
yeah,
known, right? Their whole life.
exactly.
But it's like, I don't want that for me, my family, and my kids when they grow up as well, you know?
Especially in the day and age we live in. When you first got started, community support, how did
Mm.
you genuinely go about with that? Because I feel when you first get started, having the community behind you, was it as behind you as you felt? Like, did you have those connections that you were looking for?
I felt like first, bro, I I felt like I was all alone. I was like, fuck, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know. Like I was directionless, right? And until I got that community, right? So I feel like I wouldn't be in a position where I am now if it wasn't for the community and the connections I built, right? People holding me accountable when I'm down. I'm holding them accountable when they're down. And it doesn't go just for business as well, like all aspects of life, being there for each other.
Yeah,
And the thing I like to think is like no one around me in like my real life and my upbringing had the mindset I wanted to develop or in a position where I would want to be in the future. So
exactly.
talking to the people in the community was that was my escape and that was my like fuck these guys understand where I'm coming from. If I were to go talk to that like have that conversation with my parents, they wouldn't understand that. But someone in the community that I could fucking rant with, that's I guess why I'm in a position where I am today.
One thing that people underestimate is the power of a community, the power of having brothers, and even people in slightly different positions, right? You have people that are just getting started, you have people that are at nearly 40, 50K a month, and they'll be able to tell you the struggles, how they were able to go through them, how they're able to push through them. So I think community is something that people do take for granted and don't understand how powerful it can be. I had a huge ego when I got started. Like I didn't really want to. I wanted to raw dog everything myself.
Mm.
I wanted to be the man, but then I was like, you can't do everything yourself. You need to have that community and that support and people to back you and keep you accountable.
Yeah, like the saying goes, bro, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
I guess like where you are now, like your current position,
Mm.
how has that been since the start? Like what's, I guess, one of the biggest lessons you've learned over the whole journey?
The little biggest thing I've learned, bro, is I guess the limits I can push myself and the version I can become if I put in the work. So for me, it was the fear of what if it doesn't work out? Like that was what was holding me back at the start. But now I'm in a position where I look back is like, fuck, imagine if I kept listening to that voice, I wouldn't be in a position where I am today. So for me, that was the biggest thing I guess I overcame was you know, listening to that other side, that little bit of positive, because the negative was outweighing the positive, but that positive was like, what if it works? And then, it ultimately did work, right? To a point where I could leave my job and then I could keep continually scaling and then, ultimately be able to move states and, travel with my missus, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty powerful because it was a bit the same for me. I think being able to travel and being able to do all that sort of stuff because you were in Queensland originally, and so you moved over to Sydney.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. I was in my
How was
whole
that?
life I was pretty much spent
Yeah,
there. Like I moved over when I was young from NZ and then I spent my whole upbringing in Queensland and then I made the big move to fucking
Sydney.
what they call, the best city in the fucking Australia, bro, Sydney.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a big move, bro. But it really pushed me out that comfort zone because first of all, like I was always a comfortable person. Like my
Yeah.
whole upbringing, I would always fall back into my comfort zone, and I felt like making this move, I knew it was going to be uncomfortable, being away from my family, my hometown, where my comfort zone was, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, this is where I grew the most, is when I made that uncomfortable move.
Yeah. I think doing that is, it applies pressure because you kind of put yourself in that position where you're like, I need to now make this work because I'm now accountable
Exactly.
for myself. I'm accountable for my missus. I'm accountable for the place we're staying in. I'm accountable for
Yeah,
the food. So yeah, it is. I think that's really good to be able to push yourself to that limit because I feel staying at your hometown, it really does hold you back from your full potential, as you were
for
saying.
sure.
You need to be able to push yourself past that point. With when you started, did you start as an appointment setter or do you go straight towards closing?
Yeah, bro. So I hated the fact of I had to show my face at all. Like any poly, moldy you've ever talked to, yes, they're not that shy in real life and shit like that. They're outgoing, but when it comes to like online stuff, being in front of a camera, it's just it was a big no-go for me. Like I'll take photos with the family, like yeah, and I was good with that, but not actually putting myself in front of a camera. So that was never my desire. And appointments, because I never thought you could make money faceless until I got into appointment setting.
Exactly.
I studied appointment setting, the ins and outs, and got the right knowledge and guidance.
Yeah.
2 weeks, I was able to get certified as an appointment setter. And then in my third week, that's when I actually made more. So I made pretty much not double, but
Yeah.
like just over what I would make in a warehouse. And then that week, I was actually doing it on Smoker. I was appointment setting fucking throughout my lunch breaks and shit like that on the side. And then I actually got fired, bro, in 1 week because I was doing it too much. I was doing it on the floor, and then that's pretty much where my back was against the wall, and I fucking went all in on this, bro. It
Yeah.
only took me three weeks to a month to fully be able to leave my job.
Yes, did you when you were using that when you were in appointment setting, were you utilizing the income from that to, I guess, kind of sustain yourself while you were learning closing and then you kind of got towards a closing position? Or was it more
Yeah,
so, yeah, okay, cool.
100%, bro. So I started off as an appointment setter, and I was setting for two businesses at the same time, and then I was growing my income pretty rapidly. And
Yeah.
then I was like, fuck, I love this. And then it got to a point where I was like, I want to take it to that next level. And then that's when I really started dialing down with sales. And because I could never string sentences together as a moldy. I
Yeah.
feel like our English and our way we speak, our vocabulary is never the best growing up. And I wanted to stand out from the rest, be confident, be articulate and shit like that. So taking that next step into closing, obviously high commission rate, and then being able to just take calls from wherever the fuck I wanted, I was like, that's all me.
Like the one thing I always give advice to people on is, you try get into a position where you can replace what you're doing. Try to do that for let's
Exactly.
say 2 weeks, replace the income you're making. When you know you can legitimately replace what you're doing, that's when you can kind of take a step back
Mm.
from work, maybe cut your hours. If you're completely replacing your income, well, you could probably look into quitting your job and then start focusing on that time that you were putting in towards that job. Let's say it's 40 hours a week, in towards learning closing, into focusing harder on setting.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's probably one of the most important things to kind of take it step by step and not rush yourself. A lot of people see the other people's success and they try to push
Mm.
themselves a bit too hard.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Like the thing was for me, bro, it was like it wasn't my 9 to 5 that was killing my dreams. It was that 5 to 9 that when I was off. It was like when I came home, I was scrolling. I was fucking doing shit that wasn't getting me to my goals, playing the game, just
yeah,
being comfortable. And it was like until I turned those hours that I would jam the game or I would fucking go out and eat junk food or do all this dumb shit. It was that's when I started building my career, and that's when I started actually like when I first started, it only took me 2 weeks of implementing a couple like 3, 4 hours after work, and I wanted it bad enough, so I'd stay up and I only get like 3 hours sleep some nights, right? Because it comes down to sacrifice at the end of the day. If you're not willing to sacrifice something to get you to where you want to go, you will never then get there.
exactly. I think people don't understand that it's like nothing good comes cheap and nothing cheap comes good. You need to
100%.
put in the work and you need to sacrifice something, whether it's money, whether it's sleep,
Yeah.
whether it's spending time on games, whether it's spending time with friends. You need to sacrifice something to be able to get to the position that you want to get into.
100%, bro.
Talking about that, like I guess for someone starting out, what's like the number one, I guess, advice you would give to someone?
Honestly, my best advice for someone is shoot then aim.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is for running, for example, a lot of people in the gym, a lot of people buy the equipment first, get the gym towel, the gym belt, the gears, the sh running shoes, all the gear, and that's them aiming, that's them thinking about it, and then they overthink, and then they never actually take the shot in the first place.
Yeah.
So my best advice for someone that wants to be successful is to shoot then aim. Like basketball, if you're open three, your teammate passes it to you, you're sitting there thinking, overthinking, and then you never even take that shot. You'll never even know what's on the other side of that shot. It could have been game winner, could have been
Yeah,
you in a whole different position, right? So
exactly.
my advice to anyone getting started is take action now, make that change. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but learn on the way.
Yeah. I think that's powerful because a lot of people do let, as we said, procrastination.
Exactly.
There's also other people's opinions getting to their head. So I think it's important to just kind of believe in your own gut and understand you're capable of anything else. Like, look, I've got auditory processing disorder. I've got dyslexia.
Look at that,
I
bro.
make it work. So it's like, yeah, you can never let other people's opinions. You got to shoot and aim.
Yeah.
That's fucking powerful. At the time of being in the online space, what's like the most amount of money that you've made, I guess, in like a small amount of time so far?
Yeah, so when I first started, like I said, 3 weeks it took me to make my first commissions. So it was actually my second week. I made like a couple $100, but it was like my first proper week of appointment setting. $1,200. It was like 1,200,
Yeah.
$1,300 just from appointment setting. And
Was
that was
that New
my when I
Zealand?
first started. Pardon?
Was that New Zealand or AUD?
That was an AUD. So it was like 12,
Week.
1,300 AUD in like one single week, bro. The most money I've ever made it was like 5K. It was 5K AUD in one single day, bro.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.